What were we supposed to learn from history? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast.
I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm so excited that you joined me today because we're going to talk about his story. History. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't study history in college. It's not my degree, but guess what? Why is history a required subject? Well, because along the way, our forefathers knew, the people that came before us knew that we had to learn from our mistakes. And you hear me say that often if you've listened to the podcast at all. And honestly, we do. We have to learn from our mistakes. But I think in the schooling system, they're focusing on trying to get us to pass a test, to check the mark off, to get it right, to show that we could memorize something, and they're missing the point. And we are now paying the price for it because we have generations of people that passed the test and didn't learn the lesson from the mistake that our forefathers had. So what are some of the big mistakes? How about humans are not slaves? No humans are slaves. Humans are not slaves. People, we have learned this. History has taught us this. And I don't care what age you are, what race you are, where you came from, what your religion is, what you believe. Humans are not slaves. We need to learn this lesson. Humans are not slaves. Humans are not supposed to be that. We should have learned that. We should have learned it because of our history. We should have learned that. And we are still trying to learn that today. And there's lots of causes. Go find your cause. Go find your thing. We should all be behind that cause. Humans are not slaves. We do not subside to tyranny and dictatorship. Why? Because humans are not slaves. And so listen, another lesson we should have learned is to question our leaders. To question the direction we're going, not because we don't want to follow them, not because we don't trust our leadership. Hopefully we put our leadership in place. We hopefully chose. And if we didn't choose, then we have to get involved and start choosing. But you have to understand that we were supposed to learn some lessons along the way. Why did it not work out with King George? Because tyranny doesn't work. Because humans are not slaves. No human, no child, no human being is a slave. We're not supposed to subside to anybody else. Now, we can choose to work for somebody else because we want to get paid some money, and so we're going to give them something. We can give them the most valuable asset we own, which is time, our time, the one thing we can never get back. And for that one thing that we can never get back, we can get traded for some money, whether it be dollars or coins or food or whatever it is. Now, that's good. We can trade like that. And until we are in a place where we can actually have free resources, which we are capable as humans of doing. I know we are capable of having free resources, but we've got a road to get there. But until then, we must be capitalists. I'm sorry if that turns you away. But you know what? The truth of it is simple. I'm going to trade you for something. I have a skill, you have a skill. You have something, I have something. And if your something is an equal trade to me, then I will trade you that thing. And if it's an equal trade, we walk away happy. That's the key. We've got to trade and make good trades. Sometimes we don't, and when we don't, we feel bad. And we feel like, gosh, what happened? But history taught us we should barter, we should trade, we should make a good deal. I need this thing. You need this thing. Let me trade. Oh, I don't have that thing. Let me go get that. It is bartering in its finest. We should not be afraid. History taught us that to live in fear is not okay. Living in fear is not okay. Being afraid is okay. Living in fear is not okay. History taught us that. There are so many lessons along the way, and I've been looking into it because it's fascinating to me how we haven't learned our lessons from our forefathers' mistakes. It's not that they did it all right. It's not that they did everything perfect. It's that they messed up. They screwed up, and we were supposed to learn from them screwing up. Why wouldn't we have learned? Well, you know, and I know, because we make mistakes in our world today. And what do? We keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And we wonder why we go crazy, because that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Thank you, Einstein. If we don't learn from our history, if we don't learn from our past, if we don't pay attention to how things went wrong and how things went down the wrong path, if we don't go study World War II and listen to what Hitler did to lead his people down a path that they could never, ever take back, if we don't learn from those mistakes, if we don't learn what Stalin did to lead his people down a path that they can't ever take back, it was a mistake, and we are supposed to learn from those mistakes. And if we can start with ourselves, if we can start with us, inside our world, inside our own world, and start to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start making less mistakes, not necessarily making less. I should say that differently. We're going to start looking at our mistakes, and we're going to try to do them different. We are human. We are not perfect. But I know we don't have to live in fear. You have to ask yourself, are you living in fear? It's easy to get to that place, and we have to step up and not live in fear. It is imperative that we learn from his story, and we make better choices, and we become better people. It's hard. I get it. I've been studying up on some history. Again, I'm not a history buff, but I've been studying up on some history because I'm fascinated with this idea of how past leaders could possibly convince people through fear to follow them. And it usually starts with little things. It usually starts with a little thing here and a little thing there and a little thing here. And that's how it always begins. Oh, we shouldn't, you should be afraid of this. And so let's take action. You should be afraid of this too. And we should take action. And you should be afraid of this little thing and that little thing. And you should take action. Oh, but you can't take action. So let me take action for you. I'll take care of this. Guys, we have to learn not to live in fear. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not even saying I'm perfect, because that's a ridiculous statement, but I am saying that through our imperfect action, we can find beautiful results. Through communing with each other, through connecting with our mastermind groups and with people of like-minded intent, we can help each other not be afraid. We cannot move forward being afraid. We can't live in this world that has now started to be created for us, living out of fear. We must make the fear come out of what we're doing and make new decisions where we operate in places that aren't fear, because you know, and I know, think real quick, you know that in the times in your life when you have operated from fear, more times than not, you have made poor decisions that you look back at and go, man, wish I would have changed that. Didn't want to operate from that place. What have we missed from history? It's time to go study up. It's time to go back and take some of the lessons and remind ourselves of those lessons, not the boring, let's memorize what year this happened in, but the actual history lesson that was supposed to teach us about a mistake along the way. Humans are not slaves. Humans are not meant to be treated that way. Any human, whether it's going and supporting OUR, or whether you're supporting Black Lives Matter, or whether you're supporting euthanasia victims, like I don't know what it is that you're supporting. Doesn't matter. What we're supporting is life. We're supporting humans. And I encourage you to go get into your cause and go support it. But humans are not slaves, and we are not meant to live in fear. It is not okay. It is not okay. It's time we step up, and it's time we start learning our history and learn from our mistakes. Hope you'll join me in getting educated, learning so we can speak better, so we can talk better, so we can treat humans better, so we can stand up for those that cannot stand up for themselves, so that we cannot take actions that are stupid in the sake of a good cause. Because sometimes we do. Sometimes we take stupid actions in the sake of a good cause. But we can make up for it. We can get better. We can do better things. We can learn from his story. Figure out your cause. Let's get educated. Let's get intelligent. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Hey lifers, we expect upgrades to the base operating functions of the things like our phones, cars, and even refrigerators. Why then has it not been made a priority that we upgrade the operating systems of our emotional states? We dance around the subject of emotional mastery from a young age. We have so much more knowledge in today's world, yet we're still teaching outdated methods of emotional education, if any are being taught at all. It's time for a change. It's time for an upgrade to our emotional education. Let me help you learn how to do that. Pick up your free copy of Every Minute at everyminutebook.com.